Herb, do you still like me?
Why do you ask, Don?
Well, you've been awfully cold lately.
I live at the South Pole. I am always cold.
Well, so am I, but you didn't answer my question.
I would like you a lot better if you turn on Beakman.
All right. I'm doing this to save our friendship.
Good.
Plus, it's my favorite show.
I heard that.
Fact. Every person on Earth once spent about a half an hour as a single cell.
Who are you?
I'm Beakman, and you've just broken into Beakman's World.
What you doing?
Well, I'm filling out my personality profile for this new dating service I'm joining.
Oh, yeah? What's it called?
No expectations. They said I was a perfect candidate.
Well, I've got great expectations. Let's get down to it. Liza, the first letter, please.
It's from Corianne Baker of Marlborough, Massachusetts. She asks, why does a bat sleep upside down? And why do they sleep in the day and not at night? P.S. Are they really blind?
Ooh, great questions, Corianne. What a great-looking letter. Yeah.
By the way, we think all your letters are great. Later on, we'll give you our address so you can send us some more.
All right. Let's bat around bats.
Bats, huh? I knew this show was for the birds.
Hey, watch it there, fur face.
Au contraire, Lester. Even though bats fly, they're not birds. They're mammals, just like people.
Mammals have hair or fur. They give birth to babies instead of hatching them from eggs, and they can produce milk to feed their offspring. Bats sleep upside down because of the way their feet lock around things. They actually expend less energy hanging than they do trying to sleep standing up.
Correct, Liza. Hey, give yourself a low five.
Say, this does save energy. I'm gonna do this all the time. Yup, from now on, I'm gonna... It's okay. I landed on my head.
Like people, bats come in different sizes. This one's the Kitty's hog-nosed bat. It comes from Thailand and weighs in at about 1/14 of an ounce. That's less than a penny. Now this is a flying fox bat, the largest bat there is. It has a wingspan of up to 5 feet.
Which makes it the only mammal with an in-flight movie.
Beakman, you still haven't told us why bats sleep all day and are up all night.
Oh, well, they're up all night because that's when they hunt for food.
Besides, they don't care if they're up in the day or the night. They can't see anyway. Your average bat is as blind as a bat, right?
This looks like a job for...
Lots of things we take as common knowledge are just not true. They're myths.
Philly myths?
Yes!
And we're here to bust them.
There are a couple of myths about bats that need busting.
And a rat that could use some dust busting.
Bats are not blind. Some species can see as well as human beings.
And here's a myth that's gone around for a long time. Bats don't make nests in your hair. No way, no how, nowhere.
No hair.
We shouldn't be afraid of bats. They really help us out. They eat mosquitoes. They pollinate flowers.
And they're kind of cute in a bat-y sort of way.
Gee, I guess I had bats figured all wrong.
But enough idle chat. It's time to eye some bat.
And time to bat my eyes.
Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Beakman.
This is our good friend, chiroptologist or bat expert, Dr. Patricia Brown, and her brown bat BJ.
Oh, who's our next guest? Vanna White and her whitefish?
No. What an interesting idea for next week. Anyway, this little gal here is a brown bat. Look at the wing.
Whoa, you can see right through the skin.
That's right, Liza. Instead of the tiny bit of webbing that we have between our fingers, bats have membranes of skin stretched between the bones of their long fingers. Brown bats live on a diet of yummy, nutritious, delicious insects. You know, they eat over 600 of the little buggers an hour.
Oh, beats my record by 2.
But what bugs me, Beakman, if bats are only up at night, how do they find all those creepy crawlies in the dark?
Good question, Liza. And the answer is echolocation.
Who?
Echolocation, Lester. And you know, it's not just for bats. Submarines use it too.
I think you better scope this one, Beakman.
Scoping. A submarine sends out sound waves, or what we call sonar, and listens for their echoes. By measuring how long it takes for the echoes to come back, they can calculate how far away something is. Bats do the same thing. They use little chirps, like sonar, to guide them through the dark. Bat chirps are so high that people can't hear them. But bats use them to build up a sound picture of their environment so they can fly around and catch their insect dinners without bumping into stuff.
You know, that echolo whatever stuff would come in handy at night when it's dark and you want to find the can. The bat room.
This is a bat detector.
It didn't detect this one.
Lester!
The bat detector locates bats by bringing the sound frequency of bat chirps down to the frequency of sounds the human ear can hear. We can't hear our little bat who's chirping away because the chirps are at too high a frequency. But when we switch on the bat detector, the chirps are converted into a frequency we can hear.
So, Corianne Baker of Marlborough, Mass., that's that about bats.
Bada bing, bada boom, bada bat. Bada bat!
Coming up next, Beakman hammers home a point. I'll be back after a snack, Jack. And so should you too, Lou.
Beakman's World will be back in a flash. And now back to Beakman's World.
Red alert.
It's time to unzip! You're unconscious. Here he is, the mogul of matter, the tycoon of swoon. The Larry Storch of the science torch, the one, the only, the Beakman!
You defrost them, I'll exhaust them. Let's Bristol stomp! Yeah!
Letters, get your red hot letters.
Question. What is the longest living animal? From Spencer SD of Madison, Connecticut.
Please say penguins.
Please say penguins. Please say penguins.
Answer? Well, it certainly isn't a penguin. The oldest recorded animal was Marion's tortoise, a Seychelles giant tortoise owned by a guy named Marion from the Seychelles Islands, right here, 1,000 miles east of Africa.
Oh, sure, Marion's tortoise.
I had a turtle once.
You did?
Yeah, I put her on a cracker with a little cream cheese.
Delicious.
Boy, they're
oh,
good.
delicious.
This particular giant tortoise lived from 1776 to 1918, 142 years. Unfortunately, it was killed in an accident.
Must have been a hit and crawl.
Question. What is the most poisonous snake on Earth?
Answer. Insert your lawyer's name here.
Real answer? In the oceans around Australia swims the marine cobra. Its venom is about 100 times more potent than any other snake's.
You're joking me.
Question. What's the longest running joke in the history of the...
Wait a minute, Liza. I'm starting to get that feeling again. Why, all tingly, ooh, all goosebumply, all over, ew.
Maybe your shorts are too tight.
No! It's time for the Beakman Challenge. If you try any of our experiments, make sure you do them with a grown-up and that you follow our instructions. And most important, be careful. Lester, you rotund rodent rascal, I challenge you to use this hammer to break this ruler in half.
I can do that with my tail tied behind my back.
There's a catch. You cannot hold on to the ruler.
Well, that catch deters me not. Observe. Aye? Did he say break the ruler or break the camera? I forgot.
We'll fix this later. Lester, let me show you how to do it before you turn this into a radio show. First, I place the ruler on the table thusly. Now, to hold it firmly in place, I'm going to use this. Like so.
Oh, wait a minute, Beakman. Are you going to try to tell me that these two measly pieces of paper are going to hold down that ruler so you can hit it with a hammer?
Well, you don't think it'll work?
Let's just say you cannot can do.
Can do. I will now whack the ruler. Step back, Lester, and... Ha-ha!
Wow! Oh, I get it. It has something to do with Einstein's theory of relativity.
Actually, it's all done with a little something called air resistance. When you hit the ruler without the newspaper on it, the ruler only has to push a small amount of air out of the way. But when you hit it with the newspaper resting on top of it, you have to push away a lot more air. That takes time, and since we hit the ruler really fast, there isn't enough time to move all that air out of the way. Something's got to give, and this time we break the golden rule. Learn. So, did you get that, Lester?
Oh, that horrible pun? Yeah, I got it. And I forgive you.
Coming up next! They fly through the air with the greatest of ease. Beakman soars to new heights after these.
Beakman's world must now take a beaker break. And now, back to Beakman's world.
Oh, that's very, very good. Now, taking a nice, relaxing, deep breath, bring your left leg up and wrap it twice around your neck.
Mail call!
Oh, thank goodness! Oh, man, I can't take any more of this relaxation. Ah.
Joey Shemuel of Milwaukee, Wisconsin writes, Dear Beakman, how does a glider fly without a motor?
Ooh, high-flying question, Joey. Off we go into the wild blue yonder. Ah, gliders. Sailplanes. The closest people can get to being birds. No motor. Just you and your wings and the sound of the wind rushing by. Thank you, Lester.
So, Beakman, if gliders don't have motors, what makes them go?
Gravity.
Hold the phone, Beakman. Gravity's what should make them stop. Oh, humanity!
Yeah, this scares me. But Lester's right. How does that work?
those 4 little words I love to hear.
Let's get pizza?
No.
Oh, that was 3 words, huh?
To understand gliders, first you have to understand a couple of things I like to call potential energy and kinetic energy.
Potential energy. The energy of a particle derived from position. Kinetic energy. Energy associated with motion equal for a body of its mass and the square of its speed. Cool.
It's not as complicated as the Duke of Dullness makes it sound. Consider the bowling ball. No, Lester, we don't need the wind sound anymore. Thank you.
How about this?
Excellent!
Show off.
It takes energy for me to lift up this bowling ball. The higher I lift the ball, the more energy it takes. And as long as I hold it up, that energy stays with the ball.
That's potential energy.
Right! It's the energy that the ball can potentially use. Now, when I let go of the ball, gravity is able to make the ball move down. We call this moving energy kinetic energy.
Whoops.
Which leads to a hole in the floor. You see, energy is a lot like life. What you get out of it depends how much you put into it. When I push Liza back on the swing, I'm storing up potential energy. And when I let go, that potential energy becomes kinetic energy or motion. When Liza's up here, she's all potential energy. But when I let go, that potential energy turns into motion or kinetic energy. As she reaches the bottom, she has no potential energy, just kinetic energy. And here, at that fraction of a second where she stops to change direction, she's all potential energy again. Potential, kinetic. Potential, kinetic. If there were no friction or air resistance slowing her down, Liza could go on swinging forever.
You know, Beakman, little Joey Shemuel didn't spend his allowance on a stamp to find out about swings here. He wants to know how a glider can fly without a motor. Now, don't you think you owed a little fella an answer?
This is all part of the answer, Lester. Joey, just as I lifted the bowling ball or pulled back the swing to give it potential energy, a glider gets its potential energy from, get this, another airplane. This tow plane, or tug, pulls the glider into the air using a yellow 200-foot tow line. It takes the sailplane thousands of feet up into the sky and turns it loose. The sailplane's wings convert the downward force of gravity into forward motion, turning all that potential energy into kinetic energy.
Something doesn't make sense. I understand how gliders can stay up a few minutes if you tow them up high enough, but some of those things fly around for hours.
That's because they get more potential energy as they fly around.
You mean another plane comes along and gives him a tow?
No, Lester. But there's something else in the sky that lifts them up. When the heat of the sun warms the surface of the Earth, it heats the air just above the surface. We all know that hot air rises, and pretty soon you have a column of rising hot air. It's called a thermal. When glider pilots find a thermal, they fly around in circles, letting the column of rising air take them up with it. So, Joey Shemuel of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now you know how a glider can fly without a motor.
Whoa! I gotta go up in one of those things. How high do they go anyway?
Higher than you can possibly believe.
And I'll bet he has that fact and can't wait to tell us. Right, Beakman?
Actually, I can wait until after this.
Beakman's World will be back after these messages.
February 17th, 1986, the highest recorded flight in a glider was made by Robert R. Harris. Hiya, Bob. Who rode California currents of hot air all the way up to... That's enough, Bob.
Sorry.
49,009 feet.
Whoa! That's more than 9 miles up.
Jumbo jets need 4 big engines to fly at around 35,000 feet.
Of course, they give you those little bags of nuts.
Speaking of nuts, we better get cracking.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
On Beakman's World.
Boy, how come Beakman keeps talking about flying all the time? Doesn't he realize that some of his viewers are sensitive about not being able to get off the ground?
Like who, Herb?
Like us, Don. We're birds, but we can't fly.
Yeah, but how many birds do you know who own a TV?
Oh, good point.
That's my beak.
Oh, speaking of that,
Yeah, I know. Turn off Beakman.